Welcome. This podcast is about topics that are kind of big, kind of awkward, and something that's on everyone's mind, but nobody wants to talk about it. It's addressing the elephant. Hey guys, my name's Maggie.
And I'm Ozzy.
And today's topic is the Jonbenet Ramsey case because I don't know why. Okay, that static is gonna kill me.
I know, yeah.
But before today, Ozzy's never heard of this case.
Never.
And I'm like, this is like one of the biggest cold cases like ever. So that's what we decided to research about, and we're kind of just gonna talk about it and see what's up. So we're gonna start with a background. Do you want to kind of explain the background? Because
yeah,
go ahead.
Okay, so it's a case about a young girl named Jonbenet Ramsey. A lot of people were confused about her name and thought that she had like some type of French background, but her mom just like fused her father's first and middle name. So her dad is Jonbenet Ramsey, she's Jonbenet Ramsey, and her mom is Patsy Ramsey.
Which that's so stupid.
It's definitely interesting. It's an interesting thought process. But it's a story about, or not even a story, a cold case about a young girl who is a beauty queen. Her family was very well off.
She was beautiful.
Gorgeous little 6-year-old girl. Her father was a businessman, a very well-known businessman who provided mostly for the family. The mom was a past beauty queen and her daughter was a beauty queen. And then she had a brother whose name was Burke. And they were like a silent family who lived in Boulder, Colorado. And one day, on Christmas actually.
Christmas Day.
Yep.
December 25th.
1996. Jonbenet Ramsey's body was found in her family's home in the basement one day after the family reported the body missing, or the baby missing. And it was kind of crazy, though, because there was, like, a ransom note. Like, the mom told this story in an interview about how, like, she came downstairs in the morning for, like, a cup of coffee or something, and she, like, saw that there was a 4-page ransom note left in her home.
My thing is, if you're writing a ransom note, you're going to be like, this time, this much money, this place. That's it. Nobody's going to spend, because you're in someone's house. They can wake up at any minute. You're going to take the time to write a 4-page ransom note.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
There's a lot of things in the case that are completely crazy.
It's not
and
making
don't
sense.
Add up. And that being one of them. So the mom details coming downstairs, finding this note, and then running, because in the note, it basically says that who the people are, that there's this organization, and it's like all this stuff. And then it says, like, we've taken your daughter and we'll return her for the amount of $118,000, which was crazy because it's really specific. So the mom reads this note and runs up to her daughter's room and finds that there's no one there. Like,
and mind you, that much, like that $118,000 is what the dad made for his Christmas bonus.
Yeah,
like that's very specific.
Yeah.
Which is weird. That's
so the
really
police
weird.
actually did think that it had something to do with someone who was close to him, because they had to like know something about his financials to know that that was his amount. And it was kind of just like a crazy connection. There's a lot of conspiracy theories about the amount of money. There's a lot of conspiracy theories about the
everything.
whole case, like every aspect of the case.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically a little bit of the background. Young girl passes away. Family reports the baby kidnapped. One day later, the police find the body in the parents' home.
No, the police don't find it. The dad finds
it. The dad finds the body.
Okay,
yeah.
That's okay. So first, she was found with a huge like I don't want to say mark. I'm forgetting the word. She was hit in the back of the head. Like you could see that she was hit in the back of the head, but she was mainly strangled. Okay. Also, the police searched the entire house. Mind you, they have a 3-story house, okay? But it's police officers. They're going to look at every single part of the house. You would think. But somehow, after the police raided the house, then the dad somehow found her in the basement.
Body. Right.
The police didn't, but the dad did. Make that make sense.
It really doesn't make
any sense at all. So, go ahead.
No, I don't even know what I was reading. Go ahead.
Oh. Okay, so we're going to go over some of the top, suspects, and we're going to state our opinions at the end, because I have very strong opinion about this. I just watched the Netflix documentary on this. Yeah, absolutely. But we are going to kind of just go through some of the top contenders.
The suspects that they found and why they were suspects in the first place.
Okay, before we do this, mind you, on her, I think it was like on her pants or something, there was a very small piece of DNA that was found on it. Okay, and that DNA is going to come into play with every single suspect we have.
Every single one.
Mind you, it's so small that could easily be transferable. So if she were to give someone a hug and then go to the bathroom, that DNA would be on her pants just because she went to the bathroom after giving that person a hug. That's how small and transferable it is. So that's why I don't think it's that big reliable.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'll see why, but
yeah. So first off is actually we'll start with family last.
We'll do the family last. Yeah.
We'll do the family last. So goodness gracious. First
it was the John Mark Carr. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to read this. This is from the New York Post. In 2002, John Mark Carr began communicating with an investigative journalist about the case and seemingly knew details about the murder that were not public knowledge. By 2006, journalist Michael Tracy contacted the authorities. Mind you, he was talking in 2002. This is 2006.
So it's been 4 years by this point, yeah.
With Tracy's help, Carr was traced back to Bangkok. Sorry.
Thailand, yeah.
Bangkok, where he was hiding to avoid unrelated child pornography charges in the U.S. He was extradited to Boulder and arrested. He confessed to murdering Jonbenet, and the case against him soon fell apart. His DNA did not match the samples taken from the crime scene. His estranged wife also provided an alibi, saying he was in North Carolina on the day that she was killed. Okay.
Yeah.
So
this guy, I don't know. This guy to me just seems like he is a little creepy, and he was looking for he was looking not even like fame, but I think he was looking for some type of connection, because it's later told that people thought he was crazy. Like, people always thought he was crazy, but
yeah,
for you to just be kind of like obsessed with the case and coming forward, and then his DNA was tested for like that little piece of transferable DNA, and he was ultimately ruled out of the case.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't connected to the DNA found on her body. So this guy's just like kind of a creep that came forward to like...
Yeah. So he went to jail for the unrelated child pornography, but he was released, and the FBI questioned whether like he was being set free too soon. So a Boulder police officer said, "To me, he's still the one who might have gotten away. Something about the guy seems fishy to me."
Which is honestly crazy. Because, in my opinion, if someone's coming forward and they're saying, like, I did this, like, it was me, I'm in your face, I don't think that that means that they're in it or guilty, but I also don't think that they should be ruled out based on a piece of transferable
I feel like there's
DNA.
So much more that would need to, like, play in, and not just the DNA, because you never know.
Right.
So, also, in 2023, okay, 1 year ago, he spoke out publicly saying that he was not crazy and not a liar, and doubling down on his claim that he was there with Jonbenet when she died, which is going against what his wife said, just so you know.
Yeah.
He also claimed that he might be protecting someone. "I know the truth," he said at the time, "but no one will listen."
I don't know.
That's fishy to me.
Fishy.
That's fishy to me. Wait,
it really is. And they really could have... Did that just freaking stop? Oh.
Okay. So I don't know. Him and his wife can't even agree on what to say together, and that's making me think something's weird. I'm not sure exactly what, but okay. Are you done? Okay. But him and his wife can't even agree on what to tell the police. So I don't know. I don't know how to feel about him, actually.
In my opinion, it wasn't. Like, I don't think he did it. I don't think he did it either. A creep who was interested in the case. I don't think he really wanted to gain anything from it, but you know how people just have like that sense of just like needing to be a part of something?
Yeah.
And also, like, studies showed that this guy wasn't fully there. So I don't know. I just think maybe he wanted to be a part of something. There was actually a lot of people who ended up, like a lot of men who ended up being very infatuated with the case.
Yeah.
Like, he's not the only person that'll come forward and say, like, it was me. Or, like, they catch and think just because he's infatuated with the case. You know, like, I think it was just a deep infatuation.
Absolutely.
And he has already proven to be weird. He has child pornography in his home. So there's nothing, like,
I don't know,
crazy. I just don't think it was him.
All right, so the next, like, one of the main suspects is Gary, how do you say that? Oliva. So I'm going to also read from the same website site. A convicted sex offender who lived in Boulder at the time of JonBenet's murder. Oliva,
yeah.
Oliva was fixated on the case and even attended a candlelight vigil after the murder. Oliva, who was a drifter at the time, had pictures of the little girl in his tent. Also weird. There's millions of weird people out in the world. Mm-hmm. Just saying. He was frequently seen in the family's neighborhood. He even told the police that he was fascinated with the case. Why would you tell the police that you're... That's weird to me. Oliva's behavior caught the attention of the Ramsey family, and John Ramsey told authorities that Oliva must be the killer. Must be the killer. Quotes.
No.
Which is making it seem like he's trying to shoot the target off him.
And you know what? That's what I was thinking. Like, when we first read this, I was like, weird. Because, my opinion, I think the same thing as the last guy. Like, I think this guy was genuinely just, like, it's just an infatuation. It's creepy. Don't get me wrong. It's weird. But for the dad to jump at the first man who shows a slight, like, over interest in the case is crazy. Like, it's crazy.
I'm not a fan of that.
At all. Like, I think it's very weird. He looks creepy, like, don't get me wrong, like, he looks like, but I don't know, it just doesn't give. And he also had child pornography cases under his belt.
But there was no physical evidence tied him to the case. The DNA found at the scene did not match, which means he was automatically ruled out to not be the killer.
Anyway.
So he spent the past 8 years in jail on child pornography and exploitation charges, and he was released from prison earlier
this year.
Okay. So he has acknowledged his obsession with JonBenet, and in an interview obtained by Cold Case, Who Killed JonBenet Ramsey, he said, "When you see the footage of her in her little cowboy suit going, I want to be a cowboy sweetheart, and all that, I've never seen anything like it." That just sounds like he's obsessed with her.
He's a creep. Yeah, he's just a creep.
He wants...
Yeah, he's just weird. He's weird.
I want to say, like, it sounds like he's a creep and he wants to do things to her, but there's so many people in the world that think about that to any child ever.
And honestly, JonBenet was a beautiful young girl. Like, she was a pageant princess. Like,
thousands of people knew her.
Yeah, she was very popular. And so it's not uncommon for a popular, beautiful person to have this type of attention. Now, it is creepy because she was 6. It's very weird.
But that's why everyone gets mad at people on, like, TikTok, like, those mothers for always showing their kids and, like, clothes. Like, that. It's such a common thing, which is not a good thing. But it's such a common thing. Like,
that it's like, honestly, it's, like, sad that it's commonly overlooked. Yeah. But I also don't think this man did it. Like, he just... I think I'm saying this, though, because I know who I think did it. Like, yeah, same. We have a conspiracy theory already.
We have the same.
So it's like, we're, like, ruling all these people out, but you'll see why.
Okay. So the next dude is John Brewer.
Ostens.
Okay, French. Yeah. So I'm reading from the same post. The investigation into the JonBenet went cross-country in 1997, a year after she was killed. A 31-year-old drifter broke into the home in Charlotte, North Carolina, and kidnapped and raped a two-year-old toddler. When police searched John Brewer's belongings, they found a notebook of clippings about the Ramsey case. This is leading to make me believe the same thing as the other two, that he was obsessed with them. Authorities soon ruled him out as he was working at the time of the murders and his DNA didn't match. He's currently in prison for unrelated charges. Okay.
I'm getting pretty sick of this DNA. Like, I think, like, it's kind of contradictory what I've been saying. Like, I don't think any of these 3 men are like responsible for the murder, but at the same time, I don't think it's okay to have people walking around like not charged with certain things because of this tiny little piece of DNA. Like, it's crazy.
The Boulder police investigator told the Post that Estance was never a serious suspect, but they had to rule him out. And they said, there was a point where we looked at anyone across the country who had committed violence against little girls. We need to eliminate suspects. Okay, so they're looking at millions of people. Like, yeah. So a million different men are now a suspect in this one case for one girl. Mm-hmm. Like, really?
But at the same time, it's commonly known that wealthy people get wealthy treatment. Like, you're gonna get the police to rule 1 million people as suspicious when it comes to a family who has the power to do that. Yeah. Like, they just did. Like,
yeah. Now, this last dude, if I had different conspiracies and I couldn't believe the one that I believe, then it would be this dude. He'd be him, yeah. But this is Michael Helgoth. Helgoth. So, he was an electrician in the area and owned a pair of high-tech boots that appeared to match the print left at the crime scene. He also owned a stun gun, and detectives determined that Jonbenet's broken body showed marks from a similar device. He also had a potential motive. He was embroiled in a Dang, I can't talk.
Wait, where are you?
He was embroiled in a property dispute with the Ramseys at the time. Okay, I'm just going to start this whole sentence over because this is really tripping me up. Helgoth also had a potential motive. He was embroiled in a property dispute with the Ramseys at the time. A private investigator hired by the Ramseys seemed to imply the authorities should focus on him. So once again, the Ramseys are putting it on to someone else and getting it off themselves.
And honestly, he would make sense, though. Like, he really would. Like, a neighborly figure who the girl would have known, like, or he would have had access to. He would have been able to watch her. He would have been able to watch their movements throughout the home. Mm-hmm. Just looking at the home, you can tell that the family has money. Like, you can tell that they're very well off. It's a 3-story house, several rooms, several bathrooms. There was over 120 windows in the house. Like, it was a beautiful home. And this man, like, there are things, like, physical things that connect him to the murder. But at the same time, because he wasn't DNA related to the things on her clothes, he was, again, rolled out. So.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of gets me is the mystery deepened in 1997, also a year after, when authorities said that they were closing in on a suspect. 2 days later, Helgoth committed suicide, leading many to believe that he killed himself because the charges were imminent. Imminent. High key. Why would you kill yourself?
High key.
Like, why would you kill yourself if you knew you didn't do it?
There were other sources who believed that he had committed other crimes, and if the police had gone digging, they would have found those instead, and that he wasn't guilty. But it just seems a little, I don't know. It seems a little like...
Yeah, but authorities told the Post that Helgoth was never a serious suspect because his DNA didn't match. Bruh.
It's like they're obsessed with his DNA, honestly. Like, and it's, like, so small. Like, it's, and I understand, like, DNA is the most identifiable identification can get. But to literally, like, obsess over this DNA is insane.
Okay. Now, we are going to go talk about what we think is, we think the Ramsey family had done it. Mm-hmm. Who did it? The Ramsey family. And there's honestly, like, I don't even think we need to read that. There is, like, so much evidence that points to this family. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. Literally crazy. So, from the start, police have focused on other people who were in the house. Her parents, John, Patsy, and her 9-year-old brother, Burke. At the start, Boulder police initially focused almost exclusively upon John and Patsy, and suspected that it was Patsy who wrote the ransom note at the scene and was the one that demanded $118,000.
Okay. the mom, I'm just going to say this really quick before you read on. The mom was suspected to have written the ransom note because, get this, they compared handwriting between the person who wrote the ransom note and the people who were subject at the time. And it just said the only two people who were subjects at the time were John and Patsy. And Patsy's 27 characters from her handwriting, 26 characters from her handwriting matched that of the ransom
the exact
writer.
same.
It was crazy. Same. And obviously, she would have known her husband's bonus amount, right? Like, joint bank accounts, however that works. I don't know how much information they shared with each other, but it just makes the most sense that she would have had access to that information, especially living in the same home as him, being married to him. They share children, so it's like, it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
In that situation.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to the money, knowing the money amount and the fact that her handwriting completely matched that of the ransom note was crazy.
Like, no killer who's an intruder would leave a 4-page ransom note.
No.
Nobody.
No.
So I'm going to keep reading because So, then for decades, the public has focused on Burke. That's who I think did it. Internet theorists speculate that he got into a fight with his sister over some pineapple she had eaten.
Oh, the pineapple. I don't know. It was just like one of those siblings disputes. Like, he wanted it, she ate it. But it was like, he had like a history of being overly aggressive with her, even though he was 3 years older than her.
So, like, he had already, like...
In the past.
There was in the past, he had hit her with a golf club, okay, that sent her to the ER. He also was, it was claimed that he and his sister had, like, inappropriate... Relations. But, what kind of goes hand in hand with that is they think, Burke did that with her because his father did that, like, with both of them. Which makes sense. I feel like that's kind of what happens a lot. Like, that's what the Menendez brothers...
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Not a good thing. I'm not saying that's what happens as if, like, so like, what?
That's,
no,
like, that's just a normal type of thing.
That's not good.
No, it's not.
But yeah, so that's why I kind of think of it. But they were saying that he got in a fight over some pineapple she'd eaten and somehow accidentally hurt or killed her. Then the theory claims John and Patsy covered up their son by making it look like a home invasion because they just lost one kid. Why would they want to lose another?
And get this. The father, okay, so Patsy is his second wife. He was married before, and he had a child with that woman. Obviously, the marriage didn't go well because they got a divorce, and he had a daughter that was 21 years older than Jonbenet.
Yeah.
And she had died 5 years previous to this murder. So people are like, this man literally can't take anymore. Like, he lost the daughter, he lost a second daughter, and to lose a son would just be the death of this family. Like, it would literally just take them out. And people are saying, like, the dad couldn't handle it, so he went along and, like, helped them, like, cover up the baby's murder.
Yep.
Because the brother apparently hurt her. Like, because, like we said, like, it was known, like, throughout the family, like, he just played with her too much. Like, he was overly aggressive with, like, a fragile kid. So... You know, like, he had already sent her to the hospital once. So there's just, like, a lot of evidence pointing towards this kid.
So it says, those theories don't account for the presence of an unknown male's DNA that was found on Jonbenet Ramsey's clothes, which, such easy and transferable. Within 2 weeks of the murder, DNA evidence seemed to indicate that someone else had been present at the time of the murder. Okay. I don't know. It wasn't until July 2008, nearly a dozen years after Jonbenet's murder, that the Boulder District Attorney's Office announced that the Ramsey family members were no longer possible suspects in the case. But we were looking, and they had an anti-liberal...
Oh, yeah.
What is the word?
I think it was, like, anti-libel. It was, like...
Anti-libel...
Oh, the litigation?
Yeah. Burke Ramsey had an anti-libel litigation
case,
litigation against him at 13 years old. And can you explain what that is? Because I didn't.
I'd have to, like, get back to it, but it was basically like he had already been accused of something where he had to like, use that. Like, he had to say, like, he's not talking to anyone, and he's not responsible for anything. Like, he won't speak to anyone. And he basically used his First Amendment right to get out of a case at just 13. So people had already had, like, that speculatory feeling that he was, like, kind of a little bit, you know, like, aggressive. And he had, like, people kept saying it was an interesting personality, but they wouldn't go into depth. And we watched, like, this video of him as a 9-year-old boy versus him as, like, I think he was, like, in his 20s or 30s. And he had gotten, like, interviewed by Dr. Phil. And the whole time, he's just, like, comfortably, like, he's just comfortably sitting there laughing and giggling and smiling when, like, talking
weird.
about the case. It's genuinely weird.
I don't like watching it.
No, it like makes you physically uncomfortable to see how he's just so, like, nonchalant about it. Like, it's like he's, like, laughing, like the interviewer is like, you do know that people think that you killed your sister, and he's like, yeah, like, I've heard that, like, yeah, like, whatever. So, like,
going back to the suspect before, I think it was Michael, how they found high-tech boots that was a footprint right next to her. Burke also owned high-tech boots that would perfectly match it. And now, mind you, they're claiming it was an intruder that came and killed her. But the intruder didn't come with anything. The intruder was going to look in the basement for something to kill her with. And just
find it with the whole entire family home.
He was just going to look around the basement to find something to kill her with. I feel like a typical intruder has something on him.
Like, they're prepared.
Because they're just going to break through the window with their elbow, climb in, and then
try to find
have
something.
Nothing. Like, what if the basement had nothing? So I so strongly believe it has to be someone who at least knew what was in the basement. Yeah. And now, this, I'm going to read this. Now, it's from Reddit, so the accountability, I'm not 100% sure on. But she sounds like she knows what she's talking about. This is Kind Brilliant 7879. All right. All right. Intruder left no trace at all. Okay. The DNA was so incredibly small that it could have easily been transferred by touch. Like an example, she gives someone at the party a hug, and goes to the bathroom, and there's DNA in her pants. The killer conveniently only used items in the basement that came from the house, as if he was just banking on the fact that there would be a rope and sticks. Like, they just assumed there would be stuff in the basement to kill her with. Really? Oh my gosh, where did I leave off? The duct tape and the rope were not matched to anything in the home, but John and Patsy took a lot of stuff out of their house. Like, they took it all out. So I don't know where they put it. They could have put it in storage or something.
They also had a Georgia home that they fled to quickly after.
They took a lot out. The rope was paracord, something commonly found in aircraft. Patsy bought duct tape a few weeks prior. The paintbrush belonged to her. Intruder left no fiber evidence at all, or prints or anything, but somehow Patsy's fibers ended up all over the duct tape. In the knot on the Garrett. Guys, I'm not a really good reader. Is that Garrett? Mm-hmm. Garrett. In the paint tray, on the blanket covering her body, etc. Grand jury indictments. Circumstantial evidence very much points to the spur of the moment situation, not a premeditated act. Now, I don't think someone like the suspects we read before, they wouldn't just do it out of nowhere, just in the, I'm going to do it now. In the moment, like, right? Everyone plans stuff out. Like,
unless that's why it was a genuine accident, like the little boy.
That's why I think it was an accident. So, seemingly 2 different people were responsible for the things found on Jonbenet Ramsey's on her body. The Garrett was tied very tightly, enough to kill her. She was also sexually abused. However, the wrist restraints were so loose, she could slip out of them. And whoever tied them left 17 inches of cord between her wrists, rendering the restraints completely ineffective. So, well, she's 6. Like, if it was a grown-er adult, I feel like they would be able to slip out. Because 17 inches in between wrists, that's
a lot.
I don't know exactly, but that seems like way too much. The singular piece of duct tape was placed delicately over her mouth, so much that her lips left a perfect imprint. Confirmed Burke owned high-tech boots, marks on her back almost perfectly matching his train tracks. Stories consistently change about Burke being awake, asleep, playing with toys, etc. Blatant denial of the pineapple being served, but blatant denial of pineapple being served, but the bowl had Burke and Patsy's fingerprints on it, putting them with Jonbenet shortly after her death.
And there was a police autopsy that still showed the pineapple in her stomach. So that's why a lot of people think that this version of the story is really true. Like, he just got mad at her for eating what he wanted, and then he got a little rough with her, and it was an accident. But again, the family couldn't lose another one. Mm-hmm. But it's just the amount of like I don't even know what to say, like, overlooking that went over this family. Like, it took them 12 years for one to rule them out. Mm-hmm. And then after they ruled them out, they sent the family a really long apology about how they should have never been suspects and blah, 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 blah. But the dad and the son were the only two left because sadly the mom did pass in 2006 due to ovarian cancer. Yep. But I don't know. It seems so, like, even in the interviews, like, the family seems so animated. Like, you can find clips of the dad saying what the wife is going to say, like, mouthing them while she's mouthing him as if the interviews are pre-rehearsed, you know? Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, it really makes you think, like, what you can get away with a little bit of money. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a high-end family who nobody really wanted to charge with anything. It's going to be hard to get them charged with, honestly, murder. Absolutely. It really is. It's going to be hard to charge rich people with a speeding fine. Yeah. You know, like.
Now, I want you all to imagine, like, close your eyes and imagine your child was just killed somehow. What would you do? I'm sure everyone's thinking of different answers, but the answer would be anything possible. Okay, you would be doing anything in your power you could to go and try and find out how your kid died, right? I'm assuming. So, in the ransom note, it said a certain time that the ransom person would call, right? So, you would think all parents would be watching the phone at that time, waiting for someone to call, right? I guess nobody ever called. The Ramsey family never mentioned anything about a call. They've never talked about it, never spoke about it, but we can see it in the ransom note. Like, if you were to read the pages of the ransom note, it would talk about it, which is weird because the police are asking you thousands of questions and you're not going to say, oh, they said they were going to call at 4. I don't know what time it said, but you just forget to mention that they were supposed to call at a certain time. That's weird. You're weird.
It makes no sense. And also, it was said that minutes after the police arrived to take the little girl's body, the father had messaged his personal pilot and arranged a flight for the family back home to Georgia. And he said that it was a good opportunity to return home because they had lived in Georgia for about 25 years and they were waiting to go back. And because the police had taken their house for evidence, they thought this was a good idea to run to another state, which personally I think is a little suspicious, especially because if my kid has just died, I'd want to stay close to her body and I'd want to stay close to the evidence and I'd want to stay close to what's going on. I want to know. I want to be there. I want to be, like, right there. I want to be figuring it out with the police, you know? Like, I'd literally become a detective if somebody murdered my kid. And these people seem so unattached and they just seem so, like, unconcerned with the, like, progression of the case. Like, even 3 years later, you can see the family walking around smiling and doing things with each other. And it's, like, crazy. Like, most families would still be in pieces. Heartbreak. I know I would be. Still. I don't care how long. I'm restless. And these people that you can just see them, like, fraternizing with the community and, you know.
That's so weird. And what I'm about to say is I don't know if that's just because they're rich or if it's because they're trying to hide something. But they immediately got a barracuda of a
lawyer,
they got a really nice lawyer named Lynn Wood, okay? They were super aggressive and from the get-go. And they immediately denied every single conspiracy evidence, anything that pointed to the Ramsey family. They denied everything and shot down every ounce of anything towards the Ramsey family. Which I don't know if they just wanted a really, really good lawyer because they were rich, but that seems kind of weird to me.
Does.
Like,
it really does. It really does.
You're aggressively shutting down everything. Really?
Like honestly,
and you're gonna make me not want to question that.
Most of the time, when people are innocent, they don't have to. Like, they're not fighting to prove their innocence because there's no reason to. Mm-hmm. I can literally sit here, tell you I'm innocent. You can check anything you want. Give me a lie detector, and that was another thing. Like, the Ramsey family refused to speak with police unless it was on their own terms. So, like, if the police came to their house and was like, "Can we talk to you guys? Like, we need to," and they're like, "No, we'll come by next week." Like, as if like trying to get a story together once again. It was like weird. It was just like everyone was so confused why this family was so like just nonchalant about the death of the 6-year-old beauty queen. Like, I don't know. I really do feel like the little girl was shown an injustice, and it seems like the family didn't really care much. Obviously in the public eye, like when they were going on TV, you've got the mom with her crocodile tears and the dad with his concerned, "I'll pay whatever amount." But then you have this 9-year-old kid who's like laughing and giggling and like on every interview he's just like not like he just doesn't care, you know? It's honestly crazy how people can get away with things nowadays. Like, I think it's so crazy. Like, there's so many unsolved murders and so many like areas where the police honestly could have just done so much more than they choose to do, or like, because like honestly, to rule out a family over a small piece of DNA and the fact that they have a lawyer that you may be scared of is insane. And it shows like a lack of wanting to do your job, honestly.
Yeah. All I saw was I was just doing like some finished like reading up. Because Burke hit her in the head with a golf club, and they were like accused of having like sexual relations. They would call it playing doctor. And that's how he would play doctor with her, as he would. This feels so weird to talk about. You know what I'm trying to say. But their housekeeper caught them playing doctor and what stopped it. Like a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old, if not younger on both ends, were playing doctor. Yeah. That's disgusting. That's disgusting.
It really is. So,
I think Burke did it.
Basically.
Or John. They know something that we don't.
We don't know. And
we will never know. Because soon, the dad, he's going to die somehow. And the brother, he's weird. He's not...
If you see him, like, he's nowadays... like
y'all just gotta go look him up or something.
You'll know. You'll know for sure. You'll be able to see what we see. But at the end of the day, we'll never know. And no one will ever know unless some crazy, outrageously great piece of evidence against this family comes out. Because honestly, that's the only.
This happened in 1996. That was almost 30 years ago. 28 years ago. 1996, 06, 16. Yeah. Yep. 28 years ago.
Which is crazy.
And I don't think it's getting solved, which is really sad. Like, give her justice.
She does. She needs some.
She deserves justice.
Beautiful little girl.
I was about to say free Jonbenet Ramsey. She can't be freed anymore.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on this episode of Addressing the Elephant. And next week we'll see what we're gonna do.
Bye.
Bye.